Namaskar students. So in this lecture we will learn another ion beam analysis technique, or I can say another experimental nuclear techniques, which is known as the elastic recoil detection analysis. In yesterday's class we have learned Rutherford backscattering spectrometry and Rutherford backscattering spectrometry channeling, that is RBS channeling. So in case of RBS we have learned then that the charged particle will backscattered if the mass of the incident ion is less than the mass of the target atoms. So that is why this RBS experiment is always done by using low energy, means low mass ions like hydrogen, proton or alpha particles. But these light mass ions have the less resolution of target mass. So that is why if somebody want to increase the resolution of mass resolution, then one has to be go heavier projectile, means lithium, other heavier projectiles, then one can resolve the masses. So that we have learned in detail. So but we have learned that in RBS, that because we are using the lightest lightest projectile in RBS, so that means the one drawback of RBS is that we cannot detect the lighter element. Like suppose in your sample if you have a hydrogen, so you cannot detect the hydrogen, because for detecting the hydrogen at least you need lightest projectile. So lightest mass is hydrogen and you are detecting the hydrogen with hydrogen, so there may be very less probability of recoiling the very less probability of scattering the proton or hydrogen, proton with the hydrogen atom. So that is why by doing the Rutherford backscattering measurement, it is very difficult to detect, to observe, or to measure the presence of hydrogen in your sample. So therefore we require some other technique in which we can detect the hydrogen as well. Okay, so this the topic that what we are going to learn today, that is the elastic recoil detection analysis, is a unique technique which can very easily detect the hydrogen from your sample. So we have learned in last class this phenomena, and this was the RBS, and then before RBS, after RBS we have learned this channeling. So in case of channeling, so what I will again mention the important part of channeling, so that you might be knowing that the crystallization, crystal structure, a crystallization of any material can be observed by the X-ray diffraction measurement. But RBS channeling is a very powerful tool which can tell the quantification of crystallization, means whether your this sample is crystalline or not, that can be observed, that can be measured by the RBS channeling also. It means apart from the X-ray diffraction, there is another channeling, another method, another characterization technique which can tell crystallization of your sample. But here in this case we cannot do the indexing of the lattice planes, but in case of XRD we do the obviously lattice plane. But here it in RBS channeling it will only tell the whether your sample is crystalline or not. It will tell how much crystallization is present in your sample or how much amorphization is present in your sample, that can be observed. And another good application of RBS, the RBS channeling, is that one can locate. Let us say you have doped some impurity atom in a lattice, so you can locate where this impurity atom is present in your sample. That is one of the very beautiful application of this RBS channeling. And this defects, whether at which place defect is present, means whether vacancy or interstitial, any defect is present, that can be located by even by using this RBS channeling. Even one can determine the stain in the super lattice. So that was the RBS channeling. So we have learned yesterday's class. So I have shown this this is the random RBS and this is the channeling RBS. So this much it means this much region is the amorphous region and this is the crystalline region and this is the pure crystalline sample. In case of pure crystalline sample, when you do the channeling, so there is no yields, and if you have some amorphous region, and then this is behaving like a random RBS and then channel, and this is the random RBS, means no channeling is there. So this spectra, and this paper, if anybody is interested, one can see this paper. We have my student has done this work. So in today's lecture, we'll study the elastic recoil detection analysis, as I mentioned in the introduction part of the this topic. So RBS, so what we have learned, if you overview, so RBS provides the depth profile of element in the surface up to micrometer depth, okay, and RBS channeling allows the quantification of crystallization, dopant of a dopant atom location, and determination of strain in the superlattice, etc. Okay. RBS, however, have poor sensitivity for the detection of light element, as we have already learned in the RBS that for light element it has a very poor sensitivity, because we have learned the scattering cross sections, means this scattering cross section was directly proportional to the Z1 and Z2. So if Z2 is higher, then cross section probability will be higher. If cross section probability is let us if Z1 is low, so cross section probability will be low. So that is why, means for lighter element, let us say like helium, lithium, carbon, nitrogen, etc. So this RBS has a very poor sensitivity, especially in the presence of substrate of heavier mass such as silicon, which is often used. We have seen that if you silicon, if your carbon and nitrogen or oxygen is present on the silicon substrate, so because silicon is substrate, so these peaks, the peak of carbon and nitrogen or oxygen will maybe hidden, it will overlap with the substrate mass, so it is very difficult for the light elements. So that is why this RBS, this was one drawback of the RBS, that RBS has a poor sensitivity for the detection of light element. Okay, and this is because of low Rutherford scattering cross section, which is proportional to the atomic number of projectile and scatterer. Okay, this was why that I have explained, because of the low scattering cross section, that sigma r theta was equal sigma e theta was equal to that was equal to Z1 Z2 ka square upon E. So that was inversely proportional to energy and directly proportional to the square of the atomic number of the this projectile and the target. Okay, so this I have explained in RBS also I have explained clearly. Another limitation of RBS is its inability to detect the hydrogen, because no projectile can get back scattered from this lightest element, as I have discussed in the introduction of this lecture. Okay, so and disadvantage, so one can write down this two disadvantages of the RBS. So these disadvantage of RBS are overcome by another IBA technique, that is known as the ERDA, elastic recoil detection analysis. So ERDA is a technique quite similar to RBS, but instead of catching the scattered projectile detection at the back angle, the recoil are detected. Means instead of detecting the back scattered projectile, we have to detect the recoil atoms, whatever the atoms are recoil in forward direction. Okay, so therefore for analyzing light element being present at the surface of the sample, and the incident angle of the primary ion must be more or less grazing, means your angle when the angle beam will fall on the sample, that angle should be very less, that should be grazing angle, that is of the order of 10 to it may be taken 10 degree or 20 degree. Normally it used to be taken 15 degree, and also collected the collection angle theta out should be also very less, and incident angle should be also very less. This technique enables depth profiling of element from hydrogen up to a very heavy element with single element resolution in the light mass region. It means now this technique is able to detect all atoms present in your target, starting from the hydrogen to the all heavier element. So this is, now we can say that this is the advanced version of the Rutherford back scattering technique. So in the difference is that in case of Rutherford, we were measuring the back scattered ion, but in this case we will measure the recoil atom from the target when the projectile will fall on the target, as I have explained in the beginning of the lecture. So when I was giving the concept how this ERDA, how this RBS was emerged out from the ion irradiation. So again, if you try to understand the basic principle of ERDA, here I have shown a diagram. Let us say this is projectile and this is the target atom. In case of RBS, if you remember, so this projectile mass was lighter than the target mass. Okay, but here if you see, I have drawn a figure, means whatever figure I have taken, that is the mass of the projectile is greater than the mass of the target. That is the basic requirement for the recoil. But in case of RBS, it was lighter than the target mass. So that was the basic requirement for the RBS. For the RBS, M1 should be less than M2, and for ERDA, M1 should be greater than the M2. That is the condition. So, okay, remember this, keep in mind. So here in this case, when projectile mass of M1 mass and Z1 atomic number with energy E0, let us say initial energy from accelerator is coming, so it fall on the target atom is there. Okay, so when this transfer with this energy, obviously this target atom will move into the forward direction of the beam. So this is the forward direction of the beam, so it will recoil. So that is why this M2 and Z2 recoil with some different energy. Obviously this energy will be different from the E0 energy. So this is the let us say E2 energy, because it corresponds to the second part, that is why I have written recoil energy. So, and after that, when this projectile will scatter with this target atom, so it may recoil, it may scattered also, so it will scatter in this direction. Obviously the energy of the scattered particle may be different and energy of the recoil will be different, but both energy, this energy of this scattered particle and energy of the recoil particle should be equal to the energy of the incident particle. So that is the conservation of energy and conservation of momentum we can apply in this case also. That what we have done. Okay, so so what I have explained here, if you do now, if you apply the simple kinematics, that by applying the conservation of energy in conservation of momentum before and after collision, and after collision conservation of momentum can be resolved into a perpendicular and parallel component. So if you try to write the equation, so again we can find out the kinematic factor. So kinematic factor will be defined as that is the final energy of the recoil to the incident energy of the ion. So that will be, we will call here Kr, that is K recoil. Okay, that was also K as K there. So here also K, but here we are just distinguishing from that. So this audience of people should not, readers should not confused with K. So here this K is basically K for recoil, that is why I have written Kr. Okay, so one can find out the Kr. The basic definition of Kr is basically equal to E2 upon E0. Okay, in case of RBS, if you remember, that was the E1 upon E0. In case of here, that is E2 upon E0. Okay, so now this is an assignment for you all student. You have to submit, means you have to find out this energy, that is the kinematic factor for recoil. So Kr is you have to find out, that is E2 upon E0. So that should be equal to 4. If you do the calculations, you will get this equation first, that is E2 equal to 4 m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2 square, E0 cos square phi. So where phi is the scattering angle, and or you can write in terms of E2 upon m2, that is ratio of energy and mass of the recoil. So E2 upon m2, and this ratio of the energy of the projectile. So that will be equal to 4 cos square phi, that upon 1 plus m2 upon m1 chi square. Okay. And if you further solve, because we have defined that Kr, if you find out the Kr, that should be the E0 upon E2 upon E0. So this M2 will go here. So this E2 upon E0, that will be equal to Kr. So if you write here, simply if you see this equation, so E2 upon E0 will be equal to 4 m1 m2 upon m1 plus m2 square cos whole square cos square phi. So that is the Kr, that is kinematic factor for the recoil. If you remember, go back to the scattering case. So we have also find out the kinematic factor for the RBS. So that kinematic factor for the RBS, it was equal to, if you go back, so I will show. So this kinematic factor for the RBS case, for the case of scattering, if you see the projectile was falling here, and this ion was back scattering into the same direction. So this was recoil. So here we have measured this energy. So that we have defined that K was equal to E1 upon E0. Okay. So that was m2 square minus m1 square sin square theta under root plus m1 cos theta upon m1 plus m2 ka whole square. So this was the kinematic factor for the scattered particle. So I have given as an assignment. This is a very important assignment. Similarly, if you do the similar calculation for the recoil, so this situation is similar to the in case of ERD also. If you do the same calculation, so you can find out this Kr. So Kr will be something. This is, so I have written here for the sake of your completeness, the Ks, that is for the scatter. If you find out that will be the M2 square minus M1, that is same formula it come for the scattered kinematic factor. Okay. So if you add, both should be 1. Kr plus Ks should be 1. Obviously, if your calculation is correct, this Kr should be Kr plus Ks should be 1. So this is I am giving as a assignment. This you have to find out. You have to derive Kr is equal to 4 m1 m2 cos square phi upon 1 m1 plus m2 का square. I have noticed that मैंने ये फाइंड आउट किया है कि स्टूडेंट लोग शायद लेक्चर को सीरियसली नहीं ले रहे हैं और असाइनमेंट को सबमिट नहीं कर रहे हैं. ओके, तो प्लीज टेक इट सीरियसली एंड यू हैव टू डू असाइनमेंट. तो वट एवर आई एम असाइनमेंट गिविंग, यू हैव टू सबमिट द असाइनमेंट. दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट असाइनमेंट. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट असाइनमेंट. ओके, तो अगेन RBS assignment, that was kinematic factor and that was for scattering and for recoil, both kinematic factor we have to calculate. Okay, so if you see from this formula, so it is clear that Kr and Ks, that is kinematic factor for recoil and kinematic factor for scattering, are function of mass ratio. That is, if you can write, so that is if you see here, that is m2 upon m1. So both are the function of m2 upon m1. That is function of theta also. Here this phi and that was function of theta, and the angle phi and theta. Scattering of the primary particle and recoil necessary are occur symmetry. It means when in this case, if this projectile is falling on the sample, so scattering will take place and the recoil will take place. So if this scattering, if this scattered projectile, if the projectile scattered projectile is moving back into the direction of the incident direction, then that is known as the back scattered. But it is not necessary that it is always back scattered. It can move into the forward direction also, but that is also scattered. But the recoil, what we are calling, if the target atom move into the forward direction, that is recoil. That is the difference. Okay, that is difference between the scattering and recoil. The recoil is the target atom. If projectile is falling on the target atom, if the target atom move into the direction of projectile ion, then that is known as the recoil. Here if you see this, and scattering is the, if the projectile is scattered after collision with the target atom is scattered in any direction, that is basically known as the scattered projectile. ठीक है? So that what I have discussed. So if you as we have seen, if you plot if you see this figure here, I have shown a ratio of m2 upon m1 because kinematic factor was depending upon the ratio of m2 upon m1 in kinematic factor. So this I have noted down for the scattered particle, and this is for the recoil particle. If you see here, if the m2 upon m1 is 1, means that mass of the projectile and mass of the target, that is equal to 1, then if you see for the case of recoil, that is maximum. It means kinematic factor will be maximum. Okay, that is the showing. And if that for m2 is greater than m1, if the mass of the recoil is greater than the mass of the target is greater than the mass of the projectile, then the kinematic factor of scatter, if you see the Ks, that is for scattering, for the scattered incident particle is larger than the kinematic factor for the recoil. If you see here, this kinematic factor is larger than this one. Okay, so this is some overview I have shown. So for the scattering and recoil. So this is some comparison between what is the difference between scattering and recoils. Okay, so again, if you try to learn the principle of the RBS, so ERDA. So here I have tried to show. So this is the actually, again I have chosen the different sample because I have taken this graph from this paper from the different this graph from the different paper, different reference, and this was for the different reference. So this was from this book HR Verma, and this was also from the HR Verma. Okay, and this reference, this image I have taken from this D.K. Basti and Walter Asman from Current Science. This paper, this is research journal, or in the same you can find out this in this book what we are learning. So obviously that is the same formula, just I have written in place of m1 m2 I have written mp and mr. Mp means projectile mass and mr is the recoil mass. Okay, and the scattering this recoil angle is, that is phi. So here this projectile is falling on the sample, you have a target. In target there may be several mass m1 m2 m3 m4. This means mp, different mass may be there. When this projectile is falling on the sample, the condition is that m2 should be greater than m1, means target mass should be greater than the projectile mass, means mp should be the mr should be the greater than mp. Okay, so when this projectile will fall on the target, it will transfer its energy, means elastic collision will take place, means head-on collision will take place between the projectile and the target atom. Then what will happen? This projectile will transfer its energy, then target atom will move into the forward direction. Okay. By measuring the number of recoil atom and the energy of the recoil atom, one can get the information of the sample, whatever elements are present into your sample. Okay. So here I have shown, obviously if the sample is, if the recoil is from the surface, obviously it have a larger energy. So this is, and obviously if M2 is greater than M1, okay, so obviously this energy will be greater for M2, and if M1 is less, the energy will be less for M1. So here this is M1, M2, and this is for M1, obviously M2 is greater than M1, and if some thickness will be there, so there will be energy broadening, obviously energy width. So this energy width basically due to the thickness of the sample, because if this ion will lose its energy to travel this distance, and then again this recoil will lose its energy to travel this distance, so that is why this width will be there. So this is correspond to the mass M2, and this is correspond to the M1. And the number of counts means will tell how many numbers of, what is the concentration of M1 and M2 present, target atoms are present into the sample, so that will give the number of counts. Okay. So in this way one can get the information of all the elements which are present into your target. I hope I am able to explain you. तो मुझे लगता है कि आपको ये समझ आ गया. Okay. And so the number of counts, so that is also known as the number of recoil atom. So that is if you write the formula, this number of recoil atom, so that can be written as NR. So that is equal to Y sin alpha. Sin alpha is the scattering. This is the recoil angle. If you see, okay, so this is the grazing incidence, the grazing angle, and this is the recoil angle. So recoil angle, if you see, that is alpha. So that is the sin alpha, and NP upon NP omega d sigma upon d omega, where Y is the number of recoil detected in the detector. So that Y is the how many number of recoils are detected in the detector. They are, because we have to use very sensitive detector. Okay. And this omega is the solid angle. Okay. And NP is the how many numbers of projectiles are falling on the target. Obviously that will this NR will be obviously proportional to the number of incident particle. And alpha is the small tilt angle as seen in the figure. So this is small tilt angle in the that is small tilt angle up to the given to the sample, and d sigma upon d omega is the Rutherford scattering cross section. So because this Rutherford scattering cross section basically decides the probability of collision of the two particles. So this we know, we have already I have shown. So this d sigma upon d omega, that can be written as Zp upon Zp into Zr E square upon MP upon MR का square divided by 4 EP square MR cos square phi. This is for the in case of recoil. Okay. So obviously if you see, so this if this d sigma upon d omega is larger, so NR will be larger. So means scattering cross section should be larger. And if you see here, so this scattering cross section will be larger. So that depend upon the energy of the projectile. It means if the energy of the projectile is very large, then scattering cross section will be very less. In case of ERDA, sometimes high energy is used, means very high energy of the order of MeV energy one can use, but in case of RBS one cannot use MeV energy. So in case of ERDA, if you use MeV energy, then the scattering cross section will be very less, then the number of recoil will be very less. That is why you need a very sensitive detector to detect the recoil atom. So the detector which is used here in this case, that is position sensitive detector. So that I am not telling, that is in more detail. If you go to this book, this reference, this current science, then you can find out what detectors they are using in ERDA. Okay. So I think I have explained everything in this case. So this is how, if you do the ERDA measurement of any sample, so this is how your spectra looks like. So this is two-dimensional spectra I have shown, that is for zinc sulfide thin film. So this work I have done in my PhD. So this appears in this paper, that is Physica B in 2011. So this is, if you say this, I was having zinc sulfide thin film. Obviously their zinc peak will be there, and then sulfur peak will be there. Apart from the zinc and sulfur peak, because it is very sensitive technique to the light element. So unwanted, maybe some unwanted impurity may be present also in your sample. If you do the same measurement by RBS, I have shown by RBS also this zinc sulfide. So there we were not able to observe oxygen and carbon which were present in the sample. But if you see here, some impurity atoms, oxygen and carbon is also present into the sample. So this is this can be done, means any light impurity can, whatever light impurity, a very minute impurity is there, that can be detected from the ERDA measurement. Okay, and this is the raw data, and this if you do then you can simulate and you can plot in this recoil energy versus count. So this is from my, these three figures are from my reference, my research paper, and this is another I have taken spectra just to show you from this book, that is yield versus channel number. So this is here 30 maybe 30 million electron volt energy of silicon ions are falling at the sample. Recoil angle was 36. If you see here, you can see all light elements here. Hydrogen was basically, they have detected the hydrogen. So you see the hydrogen peak is very high. It means ERDA is very sensitive to the lightest element. So that is why hydrogen is detected. If you see oxygen, and then nitrogen, carbon, so it can detect all elements. Okay. So these are some characteristics of ERDA. So it can detect hydrogen, starting from hydrogen to all elements, and depth profiling is also possible. Standard condition, one can use energy from 20 to 100 MeV heavy ions. But in case of, if you remember, if in case of RBS, one can use only the very low energy, that is the only 1 to 3 MeV helium or proton. Even heavier ion may be also used. 2 MeV for helium for hydrogen detection one can use, and detector should be gas detector or magnetic detector, time of flight or position sensitive detector. It requires about 10 minutes per sample. Precision, it is 1% relative. Stoichiometry and thickness 5% in plus minus. Sensitivity, that is 10 power 14 atom per centimeter square, is very sensitive, 10 power 8 to 10 power 18 centimeter in bulk. Depth resolution, it can resolve up to the 10 nanometer, and generally you can read and you can see the characteristics of the ERDA. So these are the few advantage and the limitations of the ERDA. What is the advantage? That it can give the depth dependent composition of the samples can be determined, which is not possible by the RBS technique. Means depth dependent composition. There we can do the depth profiling, but here depth dependent composition we can do by doing the ERDA. The scattering possibilities are much larger with the heavier projectile. Obviously, if you see the scattering projectile, the scattering cross section, so that this scattering this means scattering possibility is very high for the heavier projectile, and light elements become detectable because the scattering cross section depend only very slightly on the atomic number of the target atom, where it is depend quite radically on the atomic number in case of RBS. Okay, so one can detect the light elements very easily from the ERDA. And some limitation of the ERDA is the recoil particle usually have a smaller energy than the back scattered particle from the surface. Since the recoil scattering cross section is usually smaller than that in the case of RBS cross section at forward angle, so the signal of the recoil particle is covered by huge background of the back scattered particle in the energy spectrum recorded by the conventional ERD method. So this is why one has to determine another particular parameter to determine the particle species. Means the background radiation will be very high. That is the some sort of, I can say. So that is one drawback, that background radiation will be very high because recoil have a very less energy. Since the energy resolution of silicon surface barrier detector is bad, or for heavier ion, more complicated methods such as time of flight measurements or magnetic spectrometers are required to detect the light elements. But in nowadays in IUSC, New Delhi, if we do the RBS, there they have developed their own position sensitive detectors. So LabStack, so they do the position sensitive. They use the position sensitive detector to detect the light elements. So thanking you very much for listening this my talk, my lecture on the advantage and limitation of the this on the ERDA. So I have started from the very beginning. So that what is the ERDA, and what are the drawbacks or RBS, and then how drawbacks come from the we can overcome from the drawbacks of the RBS. Then our ERDA can be used. So ERDA is particularly used for the to detect the light elements. Okay, and this principle is quite similar to the scattering RBS, but the kinematic factor is different because in this case we use the kinematic factor, recoil kinematic factor. Again, I will remind, please submit the assignment. You have to do this assignment, that is calculation of kinematic factor for the recoil atoms by using the energy and momentum by using these kinematics. Okay, then I have compared the scattering parameters and recoil particles, and then I have discussed the principle how it is works, and then spectra, and then characteristics, and then advantage and limitations of the ERDA. So thanking you very much for listening. So this lecture is prepared due to the coronavirus. So I request you all to stay at home and stay safe. Thanking you very much for listening me.